Have you ever thought about starting a street food business? Let's be honest, it sounds like a great idea until you start dealing with permits, red tape, cooking equipment, and so on. But our protagonist isn't discouraged by all that. He was just 23 years old when he started selling snacks from a small food cart. He started small because he had just graduated from college and didn't have much money. Plus, he wanted to test the waters and see if he could actually make a decent living doing this. His initial menu was pretty simple. It included a popular snack for $2, sandwiches for $4, and some fries for $3. He spent around $100 per day on ingredients, and considering he only marked up his prices by $1, he could make anywhere from 30 to 50% profit margins on each item. So even though he had a limited menu, he could still make a decent profit. He got a spot near a busy train station and was expecting customers to line up at his brand new food cart. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Most people either didn't notice him or they simply chose to buy from one of the many other vendors in the area. He had spent thousands of dollars on the cart and all of the equipment, and now he was losing hundreds every single day. This went on for weeks, and he had almost lost everything when suddenly a group of office workers approached his cart. They must have been hungry because they ordered over 20 meals between them. It gave him a little glimmer of hope, but then they left and he went back to making zero sales for days on end. And then one afternoon, there was a massive storm. It was one of those rare summer storms that would hit the city once or twice a year, and it completely caught him off guard. Since he didn't have enough money to rent a warehouse, he had to keep his food cart out in the open, which meant that he had to pull up his tarp whenever it rained. It was uneasy since he was in a busy part of town, and it often took him hours to get everything packed up and then unpacked again. To make things worse, the rain washed away most of the foot traffic, and he spent another week barely making any sales at all. But he didn't give up. He knew that this was just a temporary setback, and that if he could stick it out, he would eventually be able to build up a loyal customer base. The problem was that he needed more than just loyal customers. He also needed to stand out from the competition. There were dozens of other food carts in the area selling similar products at similar prices. He needed to find a way to differentiate himself if he wanted to be successful. He decided to go back to school and learn a thing or two about marketing. He learned that the best way to get people to buy his product was to offer them something that they couldn't get anywhere else. He started experimenting with different recipes, trying to come up with something that was not only delicious, but also unique. He tried and tried again, going through dozens of recipes before finally hitting the jackpot. One day, he came up with a sandwich that was unlike anything else in the market. It was made with a freshly baked roll, grilled chicken, avocado, bacon, and a special sauce that he had come up with himself. It took him a few months to perfect the recipe, but once he was happy with it, he added it to his menu. Almost immediately, he started getting more customers. People loved the sandwich, and they kept coming back for more. Kay reinvested all of his profits back into the business, buying better ingredients and expanding his menu. He also spent more money on marketing, handing out flyers and coupons to get the word out about his new sandwich. As time went on, he built up a loyal following. People would specifically come to his cart to get the sandwich that he was selling. They didn't care what else he had on the menu, just wanted that sandwich. This gave him the confidence to take the next step and expand beyond a food cart. He opened up a small restaurant in a nearby town. The concept was exactly the same. He focused on quality ingredients, a great sandwich, and excellent customer service. Almost immediately, the restaurant was a hit. People from all over the area came to try his famous sandwich. His business was booming, and he knew that he had made the right decision. But he didn't stop there. He used the money he had made to open up more restaurants in other towns. Before he knew it, he had created a small chain of restaurants that were all successful. Even after all this success, he never forgot his roots. He still focused on quality ingredients, great food, and excellent customer service. He was also very involved in the community, sponsoring local sports teams and donating to local charities. Because of his hard work and dedication, his chain of restaurants continued to grow. Year after year, he became a millionaire. But it wasn't just about the money for him. Sure, that was nice. But what he really enjoyed was being his own boss and having the freedom to set his own hours. He also liked the fact that he could make a difference in the community and that he could provide jobs for people who needed them. So, if you're thinking about starting your own business, don't let the naysayers get you down. Do some research, plan carefully, and then go for it. You never know. You might be the next millionaire. We can all agree that our protagonist is a talented cook, but is he a good businessman as well? Well, we'll tell you right after. When someone has talent in one area, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're talented in others. For example, a great singer might not be good at fixing cars, and a brilliant engineer might not be able to sell a product even. Their life depended on it. Our protagonist was a talented cook, but he wasn't particularly good at marketing or sales. In fact, he had no idea how to run a business. But fortunately, he was willing to learn. He read books, he attended seminars, and he talked to other entrepreneurs. He was also willing to experiment and take risks. Atia, these are all qualities that are necessary for anyone who wants to be successful in business. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have some natural talent as well. After all, you would want to be a singer who couldn't carry a tune, or an artist who couldn't draw. But talent alone is never enough. You need to be willing to learn, to take risks, and to work hard. That's how our protagonist became a millionaire. And it's how you can do the same. Now, here's a question for you. What advice would you give to someone who wants to follow in our protagonist's footsteps? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want more stories like this, just search for more inspiring business stories. If you've enjoyed this story, please hit the like button. We appreciate your support, and we promise to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks for watching.